coming up on our YouTube channel. So you can go to our YouTube channel, the link in our bio, and go to that. And it's you join there, you'll always be getting our Chaos Cast episodes where we talk about different things. This week we were talking about women in the apocalypse, talking about women being prepared for the apocalypse. If I was going to talk about anything today, which I didn't get up in time to do that, I was wanting to talk about this sub. Everybody's talking about this sub, what happened, what was going on. One of the main things that got me was that there was a reporter that was going to go on this sub, and I think he refused to go because it looked like a DIY. It looked like a DIY sub, basically. So you're talking about something that could implode, that could just die. Everybody could die, and you could, you're going to the bottom of the ocean, and they had a game controller. They had a game controller to drive it with. They carried extras, so they, in case something happened, they had an extra game controller to get it back. And then they also they were using construction equipment on the ballasts. This is what this reporter was reporting. They got lost during that instance. They were in complete non-communication. And so we were sitting here for hours looking for this sub. Everybody, my wife is like notified me, hey, this sub, nobody know where it's at. Everybody is kind of freaking out. Everybody's kind of wondering what's happening. So I've been kind of researching, looking, over the last few days, like many of us. But apparently a lot was going on around the world. We had a coup attempt or a rebellion that happened in Russia. There was the Hunter Biden laptop fiasco kind of coming to a head there. All kinds of insane stuff happening around. Drug runners don't seem to have a problem with DIY stuff. Yeah, but they're not trying to go down to the Titanic cave, man. If you don't know what a cocaine sub is you have cartels that invest $1 million some odd dollars into these submarines, and they will bring drugs and cocaine into America with these subs. And I watched a documentary one time. I mean, they had a pretty sophisticated sub. It just had like a little periscope to drive that thing, and I think they said they had millions of dollars in that, but they were making millions of dollars by bringing it in to the U.S. like that. So, but yeah, okay, man, they ain't taking none of them cocaine subs down to the Titanic unless there was a shipment of cocaine down there. Now, many people know there's all kinds of conspiracies that surround the Titanic. There was a guy that opposed the central banking system, and then you had J.P. Morgan, and you had John Rockefeller. You had all these guys that was in favor of a central banking system that exited the ship the last minute before it launched, and then all of a sudden it hit the iceberg, midway through the trip, and it sank. Now, some of the other things I think it was the Britannic. Well, there was a sister ship that had apparently failed at some point in time, and a lot of people believe that it was actually they put it back into service as the Titanic, and that it already had structural issues already from other incidents, and also then it sank. There's all kinds of things around the Titanic. People that died, people that had money that didn't make it. All these conspiracy things. Because I listen to a lot of conspiracies. Now, I don't believe all conspiracies, but I do get a kick out of them. It's very entertaining. Now, we did have a comment that I want to bring up. Cruise ships carry a lot of drugs into the U.S. That makes sense, yeah. That I can get the documentation too if I go in there and look for it. All right, everything wrong with the doomed Titanic sub, Ocean Gate vessel. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna stop the screen mirror for that, and I'm gonna pull up. All right, so we're gonna pull up This Ocean Gate said everything went wrong with the doomed Titanic sub Ocean Gate vessel, which imploded 12,500 foot underwater, was steered by a video game controller made from DIY hardware and had no international safety certificate. It was steered by a modified video game controller, used lighting and handles bought from a DIY store, and did not lighting and handles. I wouldn't go to the bottom of the ocean in a sub that didn't have, safety certification, especially one that could implode. I wouldn't go. I would not go and do this at all, especially if I walk up and I see video game controllers. While Ocean Gate bosses have previously boasted about the off-the-shelf components used to construct Titan, the first fatal accident aboard a deep-sea tourist submersible is now certain to raise calls for additional safety regulations in the high seas where the Titan and other submersibles operate. There are no regulations, and there is no government that controls international waters. Well, of course there's not. I'm trying to move up and down on this on the wrong thing. I don't know if y'all seen that. I hope y'all didn't see that. Says, but questions are being asked over why experts who repeatedly raised safety concerns about the Ocean Gate vessel were ignored before tragedy struck this week. All 5 people aboard the Titan were killed in the submersible's catastrophic implosion, with the U.S. Coast Guard confirming the tail cone of the deep-sea vessel has been discovered around 1,600 foot from the bow of the Titanic wreckage. So if you go to the podcast, I'm going to have this pulled up. Excuse the vulgar ad off to the side. I'm still having to learn a lot when it comes to doing this screen share on the podcast, how to keep things off there that I don't want. But it's basically just sharing the whole window. But anyways, it gives you some detailed footage. And these guys, you got the pilot. He's the only one that's got any foot room. The other 4 people in the back are sitting cross-legged Indian style. You have 1 crew member, and then and then there's some footage of them showing the video game controller, and everybody sitting in their Indian style with their legs crossed. It's wonderful. One of the things about it, when it imploded, now it does sound like a gruesome thing that they died and all this pressure hit them and crushed them. So apparently it happened so fast, they never felt anything. And it happened so fast, their mind was not able to register what happened. But it did basically, when it imploded, it caused a superheating. And so they basically were cooked and just shot out into the ocean. And, so you have basically a human soup created by this incident. Let's see here. So you had the search and had a Savage lift system. The Odysseus 6. The Odysseus is at 6,000 or 6K. Again, if you go to the podcast, you'll be able to see this footage. I'll try to have it up tomorrow. We're not doing a long live stream, but again, this was just a test of the system, and I decided we'd talk about this doomed sub attempt and how they began to look for it. And then somehow somebody got on my accent. Oh, this crazy. It says, didn't 2 of the billionaires have ties to the spilled chems and missing chemical from trains? Yeah, that was a thought I had. Was this somebody faking their death? They send that thing down and implode it, and now they're down there in Venezuela somewhere or Argentina just hanging out. Titanic director James Cameron has said he presumes critics were correct in warning that this carbon fiber and titanium hull would enable the delamination and microscopic water ingress, leading to progressive failure over time. So this is apparently something that it was probably just happening for a long time. Oh, crap. No. So the pressure vessel is not MacGyver at all, because that's where we work with Boeing and NASA and the University of Washington. Okay, so this is where they were talking. David Pogue was the reporter It seems like this submersible has some elements of MacGyver, Jerry Rigness. I mean, you're putting construction pipes as ballast. It goes on to say, but Mr. Rush said, I don't know if I'd use that description of it, but there's certain things that you want to be buttoned down. So the pressure vessel is not MacGyver at all, because that's where we work with Boeing and NASA and the University of Washington. Everything else could fail. Your thrusters can go, your lights can go. You're still going to be safe. So one of the things I wonder, and we've seen this a lot of times. Was he able to say they've worked with Boeing, NASA, and the University of Washington? Because like you had like a student from that didn't really know a ton of stuff from the University of Washington. Did you have like maybe the janitor from NASA or Boeing that come over to help out? Like, yeah, we got people from Boeing and NASA in here. the Simpsons had an episode that predicted this. Why wouldn't they have? Yeah, why wouldn't they have? Oh my gosh. The Simpsons, man. I'm telling you. They predicted every daggone thing. Trump getting elected, all kinds of stuff. So this gives you a good view if you go to the podcast again. This gives you a good view of everybody just sitting in their Indian style and the controllers. TheDailyMail.com. I'll try to remember to put this link in here. And then it shows you the Ocean Gates Titan. Just a big old tube with a weird looking. It looks like an upside down animal claw. That's what, or a tooth. Pulled it out the socket and slapped somebody in there. Says, I'm sorry, somewhat has been found. Dramatic moment shocked OceanGate co-founder is told Titan submarine debris has been discovered during TV interview. Well, of course he's shocked. Of course that is the pilot's his buddy. Let's see here. You had this man and his son, and apparently the son didn't want to go. He had misgivings about this. And now, I mean, his misgivings were founded. So, folks, listen to your kids sometimes, unless they're trying to sell all their chickens. Because I think my kid is listening and he's wanting to sell all his chickens. And I said, you're not selling them. You're not going to make no money at this point, because they're all too young to really make any money off of. So, we'll go back to the streaming thing. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, my friend? So Boy Scout 2.0 says he believed they faked their death. Boy Scout 2.0, I'm going to give you a follow because I like that you agree with me. We don't have gills. Stay out of the ocean. Caveman, you're right, man. I'm going to tell you, I'm not scared of dying. I'm not scared of nothing. But I don't like being in the ocean, like deep water. I think about them sharks. I watched that movie where the little girl got her arm bit off and had to relearn how to surf. And I don't even surf, so I ain't got no business out there getting hit by a shark. I'm not doing it. We went on a big fishing trip, and we went 20 miles out into the ocean, and that was enough for the ocean for me. I couldn't see land. I couldn't see the buildings. If we'd started sinking right there, it'd be like that movie Open Water. Me and my buddy Drew, we went fishing out there. Me and Drew would have been just kind of hanging there until all the sharks killed us. Search Chaos Cast, and we're on most of your major platforms. You can go find our YouTube link in the bio, and we'll have this up tomorrow. You'll see yourself. If you commented, you'll see yourself. If you hit the follow button, you'll probably see yourself at some point on here. And then we'll have the footage from the different articles we read. We're working on producing a better show. We're working on producing a better news. This is a preparedness network, a preparedness news show. This is a forum. If you are a prepper or a preparedness enthusiast, it says my thermos is great. 42 years ago, I filled it with room temperature water, and it's exactly, James Islander. I'm telling you, you can't beat thermos, man. Kept it room temperature all them years. Some of these folks is funny. Now, I wouldn't call them trolls. They're just entertainers, and I like having them come in here. They entertain us. But we got a lot of folks coming in here. Ricky Kenworth, welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. James Lander, like the live. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for the follow, James. Stressed out, thanks for that like. Thank y'all for hitting that like button. We're getting up to 357. We will have, we had a show come up today on, Lord help me, on YouTube and on the podcast. I'm going to go to YouTube. And so we had that going on today, and it was women in the apocalypse. So we're kind of talking about women dealing with apocalypse, a societal collapse situation. We're not going to tell you to be like Katniss Everdeen and grab a bow. We're not going to tell you to be like who else? We're not going to tell you to be like these people you see, these women they're portraying now. Like, let's go out here and let's whoop a man. I only weigh 90 pounds, but I can throw a 250-pound man around. Something happened with Riverside. Lord help us, Jesus. All right, so I got to go to my videos. Let's go over here. We're going to go to the videos. Let's pull up my videos. I want to show y'all some of the latest videos. We're going to give you a sneak peek. Let's see here. I got it up here. We'll go to videos. There it is. So we got a video up right now. We have the long form video on YouTube. You'll be able to go to our TikTok or any of our short video platforms, and you will be able to watch that video in long form if you want to see the whole thing. Last time I did that, it seemed to have a good reception. So this is for podcast viewers. You're going to get to see this video in full. I'm going to play it. All right, we're going to get it rolling.
$2 cot.
So we can get her up.
Turn the first thing you're going to want to do is create two.
Can y'all hear that?
Now, if you don't know how to make a tripod, we have videos.
Thanks for this follow, Zigster.
It's basically these three saplings.
Good. Propane needed to go
They
down.
spread this garbage bag. The other thing you want to do is take those two 55-gallon drum liners and cut the bottom.
So again, if you go to the podcast, we'll have this on our live stream or our podcast video.
Just read your garbage bag drum liners.
And then if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to see that video, see it on there, and it'll be on this stream.
You got a trick on how to fix that. I took another.
Basically making a cot.
Break this around.
Out of garbage bags. Sleeping good out in the woods for only $2. It's pretty hot outside, pretty muggy. But it's been fairly cool up to here recently. We had a lot of rain last night. Cool, Boy Scout. Heck yeah. Need more survivalists. But yeah, that was our latest video. We got some of the clips that I can play you from Women in the Apocalypse. I got a little teaser trailer where we're talking about at the beginning. Recently, there has been a video. Now, I searched. Some of y'all probably seen this video. Maybe I'll be able to find it before I edit this video. But it was of a mother pushing a stroller down the road. Makes up her own weather. The caption said, "Drug addict steals a baby from a stroller." And this video, this young lady, she's probably $1.25, if that. She's a little old lady, little young lady. But the man walks up. He's acting kind of erratic. And then he grabs the baby out of one of those old collapsible umbrella strollers. The mother snatched her by the hair, it slams her on the ground. Stop him, and he grabs her by the hair of the head and slams her on the ground. So he grabs the baby and he's leaving with it. She's trying to fight him, and he's pushing her to the ground. He's just slinging around like a rag doll. And then we have a couple gentlemen in the community that come up and stop him. She tries to go, I believe, once more and get the baby. Is successful while these men stop this guy. Now, this is reality. Now, yeah, that's what. So we talk about that versus this fantasy they put out there about. Like, I watched Supergirl, and Supergirl's sister was this special ops woman, and she wasn't like no UFC trained fighter type person. No, this was a scrawny little girl, and she was like, she would run in and start whooping on somebody, and she just didn't have the weight to do what they were portraying her doing. I mean, it was against basic physics. And we go and talk about some of the strong women that I have had in my life and how they dealt with uh, perpetrators. We talk about Granny Bunch, how she just basically took care of herself and raised the whole family when my grandfather died, when my dad was 16. And Granny, she had been raising the family by herself anyways because he was a runabout. And then we look also at how my Granny Pan, she didn't care to shoot nobody. Granny, she shot a couple of guys that was trying to break in the house when Papa was at work at night. And it's a pretty funny story about what she did at one time. But Granny always had her gun. When I was growing up and spending the night with Granny after Papa died, people would show up. Hey, people would show up. She didn't know. She'd walk in there, pow, 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 get off my property. And one of my cousin Jimmy's friends come along one day, and he was like, he had come up there to see something. Jimmy had invited him up, and Jimmy wasn't there, and he'd come along and at school and said, "Man, I ain't never come back to your house. That old lady's crazy." And old Granny didn't put up with nothing. Granny Pan didn't put up with nothing. She pulled guns on my cousin Debbie's boyfriends. She said, "Get out of my car." She didn't care. Them old folks didn't care. And that was tough. Granny Bunch's still alive, and we went over to see her Saturday. Me and my wife and the kids went to see Granny Bunch. We were talking about the old days, and Granny was talking about another strong woman, Aunt Mill, and said Aunt Mill was tall and built strong, and she'd fight men. And that's the kind of woman that can take on a man. I've seen a few women like that. They could sling a man around. It was just as tough as they was. But she told the story about Aunt Mill slapped this one, beat the tar out of this woman that got after one of her kids because the kids were fighting like kids do. Well, then she gave her heart to the Lord, and that woman came back, and she said, "Lord, you're going to have to help me with this." So she always said the story was she didn't, no matter what she wanted to do, she didn't beat the tar out of that woman. So that woman hit her and done a couple things, and finally, Aunt Mill just kind of stood there and just took it. It's like a rock. Didn't do anything, and that woman finally left because she realized Aunt Mill wasn't going to fight her. Like she slapped for her. Aunt Mill just with the anointing of the Lord, the Holy Spirit was all over. She just took it. She didn't go fight anymore. She said, "Lord, I can't do this and serve you." You gotta love the old timers, man. I'm telling you, I got some stories. We're gonna end this live. We thank you for coming in. Y'all have a good one. It's been good talking.